Trail Joe here, bringing you another review on the rocks. Today we're taking a first look at the Trailtech Voyager Pro. This is a small electronics device that was just released this past week. We were on the pre-order list, so we did receive it in the first week of shipping. This being April 2018, what's the 14th. But this is just mainly a GPS as well as providing some vehicle integration on speed and other details, as well as some buddy tracking capabilities. So it is designed specifically for the off-road industry. The unit we received is the Voyager Pro Kit UTV. To give you a kind of a look at the box and some of the capabilities, it has a generic gauge screen here with some mile per hour, some temperature readings, voltage, elevation, so on and so forth. It's a ruggedized GPS. Along with vehicle sensors. You can see some of the items that it will track. One of the reasons we got this was because it will also track our belt temperature or CVT temperature. And most of the other units out there do not do that. It does have a lot of overlap with the ride command system, but we do actually have the ride command system in our vehicle, but it's always good to have backups and redundancy, as well as I like the fact that this can be mounted front and center in your view rather than off to the side like the ride command. The newer Razor Turbo S models actually have a cluster gauge in front of the driver. I don't know if that would be able to be retrofitted in or not, but this is something that we're going to use in place of that because we can get our tack and our speed and some other critical things right in front of us. The GPS, again, is really nice because some of the GPSs out there may not have all the trails on them. And then I have had problems with electronics in the past. They do have bugs in them. They do fail. So having redundancies and backups is always nice. This does have a buddy tracking system as well, and it doesn't rely on anything cellular. So that gives you another advantage if everybody in your group, or if a few people at least in your group, have one of these. The price point on this is about $600. Which is maybe a little steep for some people. One of the things that I'm hoping that they do is they come out with a lower end version that still has the buddy tracking version. Trailtech has a lot of units. Their next step down from this is roughly half the cost at $300, and it is an older generation. It's not color, and it doesn't have the buddy tracking system, but hopefully they'll release a black and white or a smaller version for riders who don't want to spend the money on the higher end system. It also does have the ability to pair with your phone and control media on the phone. The $600 price point may seem a little steep, but once you start comparing it to an outdoor GPS like this Garmin, and this is just purely a GPS, this is roughly half the cost, but it's a smaller screen. It doesn't have a lot of the functionalities, doesn't necessarily have a lot of the off-road specific maps. Definitely doesn't have the vehicle integration. And then when you compare it to, say, the Polaris Ride Command, that unit, just the head unit, is over $1,300, so well over double the cost. The Ride Command does have a few more features than this, and obviously does have a bigger screen, but this actually has a few features that the Ride Command does not. And then the other thing that you can kind of compare this to is that the cost of spending between $200 to $300 for a CVT temperature gauge, we do have that functionality built in here, and that is a nice data point to have on your vehicle because it can tell you if your belt is wearing prematurely, or if you maybe need to take it a little bit slower and easier, or let things cool off. So let's open it up and see what's included in the package. So here's everything that comes out of the box. We'll take a look at each one of these items a little bit closer, but just a general overview. We have, they give us a sticker, Trailtech logo sticker, as well as a little business card with the setup instructions linked, and to get software updates, which they provide for free. And their maps are actually fairly large at this time. They're about 28 gigs of maps, so pretty big update there. And little keychain, so no big deal there. Here we've got the main unit with some hard buttons on it. It's a 4-inch screen, I believe, or 4.3, somewhere around there. And then we've got some contacts on the back for mounting in the dock. An SD card slot for doing updates. And that's the main unit. One of the things I really like about this is it does have a dock system, so the dock is removable, so you can take this off to reduce the chance of it getting stolen. Or if you want to use this on multiple vehicles, maybe you've got a UTV and a motorcycle and a Jeep, you can move this between all three, and there are vehicle-specific mounting kits and sensors for a variety of vehicles. The mount itself has a nice cover over the contacts, so if you're, and it's magnetic, so if you're going to be riding again where you're moving this between vehicles and you've got the mount on but not necessarily the unit, you can keep that protected. There are also covers for a couple of the antenna ports on the back. We have ports for a GPS antenna if you want to use an external antenna, and then an identical port, which I believe these are N-type connectors. Could be wrong on that. They may be a little bit bigger than an N-type. But the other one is for the vehicle-to-vehicle or buddy communication system. And then we have connectors on the back for a temperature sensor, power, a wheel sensor, an attack ignition sensor, as well as there's an ambient temperature sensor. In this kit, we do get a power lead wire. We have a temperature sensor. There is only one temperature sensor capability on this, so in this kit this is really designed to go into the CVT, but depending on your application, you may not have a CVT. You may be looking, say on a motorcycle, you're going to be looking at engine temperature or radiator temperature instead, so there are specific kits for that. You can also do coolant temperature. They have a variety of sensors if you wanted to swap those out. Here we have the ignition sensor, timing sensor, so this will wrap around one of the spark plug wires to give us the RPM of the engine. For the coolant, for the CVT sensor, we do have an extension as well, so it's long enough to reach back to our CVT. And then this is what they call their V2v antenna. So this is their vehicle-to-vehicle antenna that enables the buddy system. There is also an external GPS antenna. It's not included in the kit, but if you are in an area where you've got a vehicle with a lot of metal around you, you may get a better reception by going to an external antenna. It probably won't be an issue on most Razors or other side-by-sides, but you do have that option if you want to get it. They do also include vehicle-specific mounts, and in this case they're using RAM hardware. If you're not familiar with RAM, it's actually really high quality, and they have a large variety of mounts. In this kit they include RAM's nicer, higher-end looking roll bar mount that'll fit a 1 3/4 inch. I'm not sure what the exact range is. The hose clamp here does look a little longer, but you've got to realize that it's got to actually wrap all the way around this piece as well. RAM does make a little bit lower profile mount, and we'll show you a picture of that. We've got several of those already on our vehicle in case you wanted to go a little lower profile. And they give you one of their short arms. Again, RAM makes 3 different lengths of arms. To give you an idea, this isn't included in the kit, but this is one of their mid-length arms, and then they also have a long arm as well as articulated arms and a bunch of different options that you can change out to. And then this is the mount to go on the back of the dock itself. To give you an idea, we may actually switch into a surface mount like this, and these surface mount units are actually pretty cheap from RAM. You can get them in aluminum or composite. We mainly run the composite, the plastic ones, because they're plenty strong for our needs. So we'll get to the installation in a separate video, as well as kind of do an overview of the unit in operation and give you some views of it running on the trail. And once we get a little bit of experience with the map systems, give you an idea of what our opinion is on the map compared to some of the other mapping systems out there. The availability of trails, but obviously that will vary in the area of the country you're riding or the specific location that you're looking for. One other thing on this is if you do want to just use it as a GPS, really all that you have to connect up here is the power itself. You don't have to run all the other sensors if you don't want to. They are entirely optional, but obviously there are some things that may not function without the additional sensors installed. For example, you're not going to be able to get your RPMs unless you have the tach ignition sensor installed. You're not going to see anything on your temperature gauge without the temperature gauge installed. You're not going to be able to do any buddy tracking without this antenna installed. So we hope you've enjoyed this first look. Be sure to give it a thumbs up, and if you have any questions about the unit or want to see more on specific features when we do the running review or the install, please let us know in the comments below, and we'll try to address those. And to see future videos, please be sure and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching.